Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to the virtual Nashville Super Speedway for the round of 8 of the Challenger Cup Series playoffs.
Welcome.
My name is
to the first
Dawson
round
Wise,
of
and
8
I'm going to
here
get
at
that
Nashville
out of the
Super
way.
Speed.
And are we good now? We're back now, I think. Not sure what happened there, but we're showing all good on my end, so we should be all good now. Glad to have you with me. Let's get down trackside and get down to business for race 15 of season 1 here in 2025, playoff race number 3, first race of the round of 8. On the pole tonight, it's the points leader, a time of 29.820 seconds. It's Harold Watkins in the 3 machine. On this outside, it'll be GT Irizarry in the 14 machine, also a playoff driver. Row 2, both playoff drivers as well. Andrew Little in the 68, Matt Hayden in the 5 machine. They are 3rd and 4th in prospective points coming into tonight. Row 3, Travis Everett is 2nd in the round of 8 point standings to start the night. Christian Strader was eliminated last week at Charlotte. Row 4, another couple playoff drivers. It's James Coytrone in the 38, the last driver to make it in, and John Velocity in the 84, who will roll off 8th. Row 5, Cody Eldridge makes another start in the 10 machine, and Greg Bourbonier, eliminated last week, unfortunately, but does start tonight's race as well. Row 6, a pair of drivers who made the playoffs were unable to make the round of 8. It's Brandon Beauchamp and Stephen Luttrell. Last car in the field is Mike Martino. We had some beef last week. I'll talk about it during the race. It does not appear to be as pressing a story with certain car missing the grid here tonight and not in the field, and it's the only playoff driver not in the field, so we'll talk about that as it becomes relevant. 135 laps on the schedule for tonight. It is foggy for some reason. I'm not sure why it is so unbelievably foggy, but nonetheless, we will try to survive it here tonight in Nashville. Green flag is going in the air. We're underway for the round of 8. Lap 1 complete, lap 2 on the board, and it is like ridiculously foggy. If we can fix it, great. If not, we may just have to live with it tonight. I'm not sure what's going on with the weather conditions or if that'll clear up, but it's Harold Watkins out to an 8-9 car length lead over GT Irizarry. Matt Hayden settles here into the 2nd position as the field works quickly here off turn number 4 and begins lap number 3. A stage break tonight will come right around, I believe, lap 35 or 40. I'll check that information for you on the schedule. It will come at lap number 34. So 1 stage break tonight, 135 total. 2nd stage about 102 laps in length. Watkins out to an early lead, and again, there's not much I can do about the fog. It's got to be something with the weather conditions, I would think. 86 degrees. 7:30 p.m. in the sim time. I'm not really sure. 99% humidity probably does the trick. And would contribute to there being a fog over the racetrack. So apologies for that if you can't see the cars. I'm going to do my best to work the cameras to give you the best look possible as Watkins leads the field here on lap number 3. Did want to mention, as the battle may be on here momentarily for 2nd, Matt Hayden, a guy who likes Nashville. Good grief, we really cannot see from that camera until they come by the front stretch here. Matt Hayden, a guy that loves Nashville Super Speedway, is good here. I have seen him run well here. We'll see if he can do so tonight in the next gen car. Christian Strader, a guy I expect to pick it up during the race as it goes on. A little blink there for Strader. Battle for 2nd is on, so we'll hold off, but did want to mention the situation last week here in just a moment as the battle for 2nd continues. Matt Hayden on the back bumper of GT Irizarry as we use our binoculars through the fog. And the fog continues to just get worse. This is insane. Really, the only thing I can think that would be contributing to the fog would be the humidity. But goodness, it's never been this bad. But Irizarry holding off Hayden for the moment. Hayden all over his back bumper trying to get to second. Do want to go over the playoff drivers briefly. The 8 that will be racing for a championship. Covered them briefly there in the open. Harold Watkins is the points leader and really the only one safe. Might already be safe from elimination. Might already have locked himself a spot in the round of 4 just by starting this race. But 27 points above the cut line is Harold Watkins by virtue of 4 wins on the season. Travis Everett is second in the points, and this is kind of where it gets hairy. 3 points above the cut line for Travis Everett coming into tonight's event. It is Andrew Little that is 1 point above the cut line in third. And then Matt Ayton rides fourth on the cut line. Now they will get a little bit of a benefit. Justin Malarkey, who is fifth in the points, is the other man on the cut line. He is not in the field tonight, so Malarkey likely into a must-win position at Michigan, which, as we consider what happened last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway, would lead you to believe he's willing to lay it all on the line, shall we say, to get himself in the round of 8. One car in the wall. Is that Strader? Strader is having a serious problem with connection so far in this one. He's dropped all the way to 6th and continues to have that issue. So we'll keep an eye. We'll continue to monitor that. Other 3 drivers in the playoffs. John Velocity comes into tonight 6th, 1 point below the cut line. GT Irizarry is 7th, 2 points below the cut line. He currently runs 2nd. That's a big run for him if he can hold on to that spot, even if he finishes 1 spot behind the lead. That'd be a huge run considering how close the cut line is. And then James Coitrone is 12 points below the line. Now so far having a nice run compared to the guys in front of him. So he could at least eat away into that lead. Currently runs 4th on the speedway, up 3 from where he started. He started 7th, needed a big run. Currently getting it back in the 7th position, or back in the 4th position. Good grief. And there's really, unfortunately, just not a better camera angle. The fog is just that bad. When we get a caution here, if it's the stage break, we'll go and double check, make sure it's not just a me issue, but I would imagine the drivers are seeing this too. But I mean, it is like unbelievably foggy. And it's the humidity. It's about 99% humidity in the sim, and the sim service doesn't really, good grief. The simulation doesn't really know how to adapt to fog. Or how to adapt to humidity, so typically it just kind of adds fog. And unfortunately tonight, I mean, it's making for unadaptable conditions for me, let alone for the guys in the race cars. Watkins continuing to lead. The battle for second is still raging back here. And we're getting to the point that we can't even see it. And there's really, we're just going to have to let it ride until lap 34. And assume that everybody else sees the fog too. So Irizarry trails Watkins by 1.5 seconds. Hayden trails Irizarry by about a car length here in turn 3. Coitrone is 4th. Everett is 5th. Then it's Velocity, Little, Eldred, Bourbonnier, and Beauchamp. Schrader all the way back to 11th with those connection issues. So far, so green. 14 laps down. About 1/10 of the way into tonight's event. Next time about to be 15. We're going to tick off laps in a hurry. And they are running about 30-second lap times right now. All things considered, this one's going to go by awfully quickly. Field's somewhat spread out. James Coitrone under fire from Everett and Velocity, but with the field a little bit more spread out, do want to explain, catch you up on last week. If you weren't here at Charlotte, number 1, you missed a banger of a race. It was the best race of the season. But you also missed the first rivalry beef moment of the year. With about 4 laps to go, Justin Malarkey threw his car to the inside of 3 wide on the front stretch, to the inside of Harold Watkins and John Velocity, going for the race lead, inside of 5 to go on a late restart. Malarkey used that side-by-side run that he got with the leaders side by side. He got a bit of a run up to the leaders and used it to slingshot to the inside to try to get the lead. There were a couple bouts of contact between those three cars. The first between Malarkey and Velocity, the second between all three, Malarkey, Velocity, and Watkins. The end result of that contact was the 3 and the 84 in the outside wall. Both had led a significant portion of last week's race. Neither finished inside the top 5 as a result of the contact with Justin Malarkey. Neither was happy. We had the pipe bomb in the post race by Malarkey as Travis Everett looks for 4th here on Coitron. Velocity trying to follow him forward, speaking of the 84. We had that pipe bomb in the post race by Justin Malarkey where he basically, in no uncertain terms said, I did nothing wrong and I stand by the move that I made. And then we had the contact after the race. John Velocity showed his frustration. Harold Watkins chased Malarkey around the racetrack for a couple of laps. We had some comments after the race, some beef, some threats. Now with Malarkey out of the field tonight, I was really looking forward to seeing that dynamic if it came to pass. With Malarkey not in the field, it's unfortunately kind of left that for next week. But next week, with Malarkey now in a must-win position in the playoffs, buckle up because next week in Michigan could get very interesting. Elbows out, bully ball. Could see tempers flare next week in the Irish Hills. You will not want to miss that one. Harold Watkins leads here, but that lead has shrunk by about half over GT Irizarry, trying to get a win. His one win on the season came back at Phoenix early in the season, 4 or 5 races in, is where Irizarry captured his first and only win. 7 of the 8 drivers remaining in the playoffs have a win. Of course, Watkins has 4. Daytona. Let's see. Daytona. Homestead. He's won a couple other times as well. I'd have to go look. I think he's only got 3. I believe it's Daytona, Homestead, and North Wilkesboro. So I'm not sure where that 4th one came from, but regardless, 3 wins for Watkins, 5 stage wins. Travis Everett's win coming back at Bristol. It's also where he got his stage win. Andrew Little's win was at Martinsville earlier in the season. Matt Hayden's one win was at Las Vegas. Justin Malarkey's won twice. Once at Darlington. And, of course, last week at Charlotte. John Velocity's one win was earlier in the season at Texas. And, of course, GT Irizarry's win was at the Phoenix Raceway. So, wins for 7 of the 8 drivers remaining means something has to give in the next 2 for the Championship 4 to be set. Watkins is being run down. The lead is 0.6 of a second on GT Irizarry, who is so far matching the pace of the 3 machine. The fog is starting to lighten a little bit. We might just be able to see the cars better here in a moment. 11 laps to go here in stage number 1. The battle was for 4th. John Velocity is going to pick up a couple spots, get all the way to P4, and now trying to pick up some speed in race trim and maybe go get some revenge for last week. Everett past Coitron. Andrew Little now next up for Coitron, who got up to 4th, now is dropping back towards his original starting spot of 7th. 10 laps to go, stage number 1 here at the Nashville Super Speedway. Christian Strader must have gotten his internet issues fixed. He's back up to 8th after some problems earlier in the night, and the lead is 0.3 of a second. Goodness, pardon me for that. The lead is 0.3 of a second for Harold Watkins. Here comes GT Irizarry. In order to win a championship, you have to catch the speed at the right time, and GT Irizarry over the past couple weeks has started to pick up that speed, has started to find that race trim that he had early in the season that got him into the playoffs with a win back at Phoenix. He's starting to kind of pick up that race pace again. Tell you, John Velasity's run some of the best laps on the racetrack, though. In fact, he is 0.2 faster than the leaders right now. Back in the 4th spot. He may not catch Matt Hayden by the time this run ends. Got about 2.5 seconds to make up, but when this race goes back green, Velasity has certainly found something here for the leaders. 27 up and down. This one is flying by. Actually, Matt Hayden may have found a little bit of something here at the end of the run as well. His gap has narrowed a little bit. But it's all Harold Watkins right now, but he's about to have a mirror full of GT Irizarry. 2 car lengths from the 3 to the Ford Quick Lane Motorcraft, Ford Mustang Dark Horse, who runs in second. A car length and a half, make it 2. Here's they cross the line. Leaders not separated by much. 7 to go here in stage number 1. Watkins looking for stage win number 6 on the season. Irizarry looking for stage win number 2. Gap is 2.5 now. Down the back straightaway, Irizarry will reload. Velocity is kind of plateaued as well. May have used his stuff up trying to get to 4th. Irizarry trying to run down Watkins. 5 laps to go, stage number 1. Good battle back here around these 3 cars. Actually now settled out to a couple cars. Andrew Little and James Coytrone. Little looking for the 6th position. James Coytrone can't get it there in 1 and 2. Let's see if we can get it here on the other end of the speedway in 3 and 4. Drives at the bottom. Going to hit the line before Coytrone does. Let's see if he can get a better exit. Not quite. Up front, the gap grows once again. Watkins driving away. So we will keep it here. It's just the best battle on the speedway right now. As Irizarry has lost a couple tenths to the back of Harold Watkins, who laps by lap 32. 3 laps to go here in stage 1. And the fog has lifted. And wouldn't you know it, we can see cars. That was a really interesting phenomenon there with the fog. I'm not sure quite what happened as this battle spreads back out. Let's go back up front. As Irizarry is looking for something, and he's found something here, especially down on the turns 1 and 2 side of the racetrack. He's still searching a little bit over here in 3 and 4. 2 laps to go, stage 1. Velocity still the quickest car on the speedway. Last time by, 0.2 quicker than the leaders, that time 1.5. He'll have something for him here once they get back around to stage 1 and re-rack the field. We'll see what John Velasity's got for the field. White flag up, stage number 1. Irizarry is a car length and a half, make it 1 full car length off the back bumper of Harold Watkins, but will he get back to him in time to win the stage? It'll be very close. He'll have to have a pretty good here 3 and 4. He'll drive up to the back bumper, though. And he'll at least give himself a look at it. 1 car length, less than a car length. Irizarry drives it deep into turn 3. It doesn't quite stick for him, and it appears that Harold Watkins will come off turn 4. He will. Stage 1 complete. Watkins, 6th stage win of the year. Irizarry comes home 2nd. Hayden 3rd. Velocity 4th. And Travis Everett back in 5th. We'll await the caution flag that we may or may not get, and there it is. Caution flag, stage 1 complete from Nashville Super Speedway. Harold Watkins wins the stage. Everybody will come around, catch the pace car, and be on pit road. Next time around, we'll update you on the race off pit road and have the conclusion. Under 100 laps to go at Nashville Superspeedway. It's the round of 8 Challenger Cup Series playoffs. We're going to hit a quick commercial break. We'll be right back on PGR eSports. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing of the battle on pit road. We'll be right back from Nashville Superspeedway. This is PGR eSports.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3 by 3.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Have created
our own drink company.
the fastest growing sports drink in history.
We won't run! We won't run! Ladies and gentlemen, we got
Monkey is prime!
this season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's on!
Oh, that's good.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway. It's the conclusion of the round of 8 opener from Nashville. Glad to have you with us live on the PGR eSports Network on a Tuesday night. Happy to be bringing you action from the Challenger Cup Series. The race off pit road, Matt Hayden was able to at least get to second. I'm not sure if he's the control car here or not. I believe it might still be Harold Watkins, but Matt Hayden had a great pit stop. Travis Everett did as well. Both gained some track position on that pit stop. Now 97 laps remain from Nashville Superspeedway. And here we go. Matt Hayden, Harold Watkins, Travis Everett, GT Irizarry, and the rest of the field into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is up and away we go. Hayden did not go, and he's going to be 3 wide for second. Irizarry to the bottom, Hayden in the middle. It's Everett up top side. Second in the points, Travis Everett goes from 4th to 2nd off turn number 2. Irizarry will battle back on the inside. The teammates side by side for second. 97 to go out back. Strader battling Coitrone. That is for position number 8. Velocity was 4th. I said to watch out for him. A slow pit stop on the 84. He drops from 4th to 6th and will now to make that ground back up once again. Everett and Hayden fight for 3rd. Irizarry through for 2nd. Here comes Andrew Little looking for 4th on Matt Hayden. So Watkins and Irizarry, the fastest 2 cars so far out in front. It's a battle currently for 4th. 4th on back. Seems to be where the battle has been so far tonight. Everett through to 3rd, and now he's got a little bit of speed here. Coming back 95 to go. Everett has found his way to 3rd. A little contact between Matt Hayden and Andrew Little. Some more contact there. They're able to get it sorted out. As lap 41 goes on the board, they will tick by quickly. We can go at least 34 laps on a tank of gas, which means 2 pit stops remain in tonight's race. One somewhere around 70 to 75. The last one between laps 105 and 110. Actually, they'll be a little bit further apart than that. It'll be likely around 75 and around, let's say, lap 115 is when we will expect that final pit stop. Battle for the lead. Watkins defending. Irizarry is there. Further back, John Velasti's dropped all the way to 8th on this run. Andrew Little's gotten all the way to 3rd. Strader is back up to 6th. He looked competitive early. And really, with the margin of error so thin, it's kind of interesting. With the cut line as close as it is, every spot is going to matter a ton, every stage point as well. For Irizarry, those were huge 4 stage points right there. Kind of pulled him back above the cut line. At least got him back onto the cut line. No, actually, yeah, got him back on the cut line, I believe, or may have just brought him back to 1 below it, but regardless, a big point. Oh boy, Matt Hayden out back had some problems off turn 4 and loses a ton of spots. He'll go all the way back to 6th. 3 wide behind him for 7th with Eldred, Velocity, and Coytrone. Meanwhile, the battle is for 4th, and the man on the move right now is the man who very nearly, good grief, my voice is really struggling tonight. Thanks for bearing with me. The man who very nearly won his way into this round by a must-win position. Christian Strader's on the move. And you think what could have been for Christian Strader if he had raced North Wilkesboro, or if he was able to get the job done a week ago at Charlotte, what could have been with as fast as he looks tonight. Probably going to look back on that North Wilkesboro race, probably going to look back on that missed opportunity at Charlotte for a while and wonder, boy, if only. But he fights Everett right now for the 4th position. Battle for the lead has cooled just a little. And Strader looks to the outside, gets it to work on Travis Everett. 90 to go at the line for Watkins as Strader draws alongside and passes the 13 of Travis Everett. Strader's on the move. He's up to 4th. He's the man to watch right now. Now tracking down Andrew Little, and we'll see what he's got from there. Matt Hayden is all the way back to 6th, trying to rebound. Right in front of John Velocity, who was at one point the fastest car on the racetrack, dropped all the way to 7th after a bad pit stop and a tough shuffle on the restart. You see Hayden in behind Travis Everett. You see Velocity behind them, and that's Coytrone battling with Eldred for 8th. Watkins pulling away just a tad from most of the field. Long run, I think other cars are better than the 3. It just takes a little bit to get there. Again, they will go by quickly here tonight. Lap 48 already on the board, and this race started just over 20 minutes ago. We are already about 15 laps, 20 laps make it from halfway. $135 here tonight at Nashville. The Music City, one of my home tracks. Produced a fun cup race on Sunday. A sold-out cup race on Sunday. How about the crowd at Nashville Super Speedway on Sunday night? Produced a great truck race on Saturday, or excuse me, on Friday as well, and a pretty good Xfinity race too. So fun stuff this weekend. We continue to watch Christian Strader. That's because Harold Watkins is driven away from GT Irizarry, and Strader is kind of the man on the move here in the field. Matt Hayden's back up to 5th. He passes Travis Everett. Velocity's up to 7th, also trying to pass Everett for 6th. Try to work his way back into this one. $50 already on the board. Schrader to the back bumper of Little. Trying to knock on the door for third as Matt Hayden puts some pressure on from behind for fourth. Lasty puts pressure on Everett for sixth. It's all Harold Watkins out front by 1.1 seconds over GT Irizarry and the rest of the field. A bit unrealistic to think we'd have a race like we did last week, again this week. Last week, phenomenal race. Hard to replicate races like that. Next week at Michigan may get pretty close. That track next week in the Irish Hills is a lot of fun in this car right now. Pocono the week after that, a very technical track, very much a driver's track. For the championship too, that'll be a lot of fun as well. .54 laps up and down at Nashville. Car on the wall further back with Stephen Luttrell. .54 up and down. This one's going by really quickly, and they've kind of gotten spread out. Again, last three races tonight at Nashville, next week at Michigan, then Pocono, but we don't take a break. We'll go right from Pocono to the Atlanta Motor Speedway the first week in July to start season 2 of 2025 and kind of kick off that second half. We'll start to preview some of the races that we'll see in that round. As tonight goes on, as next week goes on, we'll start to kind of tell you, okay, where do we go next season once this one gets completed. Atlanta, Chicago Street Course, Sonoma, Dover, Indianapolis, Iowa, Watkins Glen, Richmond, Daytona, Darlington, Gateway, Bristol, New Hampshire, and Kansas. The regular season in season number 2 of 2025 as Matt Hayden gets fourth from Schrader there in turns 3 and 4. Meanwhile, further back, Coytrone moves past John Velocity for 7th, and hassles Travis Everett for the 6th spot. Take a look at that. Playoffs next season: Charlotte Roval, Las Vegas, Talladega, Martinsville, Phoenix. Good grief, you could have wanted any more wild cards. And then the final 4 from season 1 and season 2 will duke it out in a final grand championship race, if you will, at Old Atlanta on November the 11th for a 140-lap year-long championship event. That'll be a lot of fun in November. Ten laps away from halfway home. At Nashville. Again, so happy that you've joined me. A little bit more laid back Tuesday night. Not as much action-packed racing tonight. Not to say it's not good, it's clean, but again, hard to replicate the races you get last week, so nonetheless, this one has been interesting so far. Before we get to pit stops, talking about some programming moving forward, well, we'll hold that thought. Here's a pass for 6th by James Coytrone. Draws even with Travis Everett. Can he pass him here off turn number 2? He will try. Everett, will he keep that spot? He will. Coytrone, not quite. Going to go in line. He'll dive back to the inside, this time with turns 3 and 4. He'll look forward again. Both on the brakes, side by side. We'll drag race down the front stretch. Coytrone trying to side draft. We'll run side by side all the way down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Coitrone comes away with a spot. He's back up to 6th. And again, every point that he gets tonight is going to be meaningful. Matt Hayden trying to catch Andrew Little. That's for 3rd. We want to give you some programming updates for PGR eSports. Right now, Grindstone Development's Truck Series is live with Austin Green on the main PGR channel. If you want to give a stop in and check his stuff out. Later on tonight, Michael Triscaro, owner of PGR, and Ron Morris Jr. will be on the call for Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder Series, Xfinity Series from Talladega tonight. Coming up after this race is concluded here on PGR eSports. It'll be on the main page. We'll go and give them some of your time as well as Super Speedway Racing takes hold later on tonight. Thursday night's a big one, or excuse me, let's not put the cart before the horse. Tomorrow night, the Roughneck Racing Money Madness Wednesday Championship Series returns. I believe it might be championship night, but let me double check that for you real quick. I think it might be championship night. We'll see. Tomorrow night, the Roughneck Racing Wednesday Series. Maybe it's not. It's actually early in the season, so apologies for that. I gave you false information. But nonetheless, tomorrow night, Mike will have you on the call for that one as well. There's another pass back here. Coitrone, Everett continue to go at it for the 6th position. Strader not far in front of them in 5th. So we'll watch this battle for a second. Oh, look at Coitrone right across the nose of Travis Everett. To the inside goes the Oscar Mayer Chevrolet. Power move. Everett, does he go bottom 3? No. Coitrone cuts that off. Does he go middle of 3? Nope. 38 cuts that one off as well. John Velocity in this conversation as well, right behind these guys, running in 8th. Coitrone gets the 5th spot, though. Try to set his sights forward. Travis Everett, he was running right on his bumper. Thursday night, PGR eSports Intimidator Series. I lack the word Super Speedway because for the first time on Thursday, the Thursday night series makes a trip to the Irish Hills of Michigan. Michigan Race Week in NASCAR. It's Michigan Race Week in PGR as the top echelon of PGR drivers take to the racetrack on Thursday, take on the 2-mile oval of Michigan. It'll be the truck series, and there will be tiered payouts. So there'll be payouts to the top, however many cars, the middle, however many cars, the bottom, however many cars. They'll be bracketed by iRating and other statistics, and we'll go racing it on Thursday at Michigan. I'm planning to be on track for that one. Should be a lot of fun. I can't wait. I love Michigan. Can't wait to be on track for that one, but Austin Green, I believe, will have the call. That one should be a lot of fun at Michigan International Speedway on Thursday night. And then next Monday, it's the VRX Light Series here on PGR eSports Network as the Championship 4 has arrived next Monday night. ARCA at Daytona is the car track combo to decide a champion in the Light Series. See who graduates to race with the big boys. Harold Watkins had a 1.8 second lead about 10 laps ago. It has evaporated as GT Irizarry has again run down the 3 of Harold Watkins. No one else in the field seems to have that kind of speed as these two cars. As lap 70's on the board, we are already past halfway. Again, for a race that started about 35 minutes ago. Pit stops coming up, though, in the next 5 or so laps, maybe 10. So we'll be waiting for this first cycle of green flag pit stops. coming up in just a moment. Not a lot doing here as, well, right as I say that, apologies, broadcaster, I won't call it broadcaster's indifference, broadcaster's incompetence, we'll call it. Pit stops underway, lap 72. GT Irizarry on pit road first to short pit the 3 of Harold Watkins. Let's see if Watkins saw it. He's pretty good about seeing it, coming to pit road a lap later, and he will cede the lead and do just that, but slid it a little bit. Andrew Little stays out. Matt Hayden stays out. Coytrone, Everett, Velocity all stay on the racetrack. Irizarry and Watkins, the only 2 to pit on lap 71 and 72. Andrew Little holds on to the lead. Watch Irizarry and Watkins here and see where they cycle out. Watkins in his box and just now up on the jack. Irizarry's over in turn 3. It's going to be close. Prospective battle for the lead, and now several more cars off pit road. Andrew Little, Christian Schrader, both coming on to pit road this time. Matt Hayden, Cody Eldred, James Coytrone, Brandon Beauchamp. Harold Watkins comes out, now with the lead, but will be overtaken by GT Irizarry here under green flag conditions, and Irizarry will open up about a 2-second lead on the 3 machine. John Velocity hits pit road this time, as does Travis Everett, which leaves Greg Bermanier, the only car to have not made a pit stop. He will do so right here. Everybody else is off and running. Andrew Little out ahead of the leader, but I don't think he'll beat Irizarry back here off turn number 2. He will not. He might beat Harold Watkins, though. He will. Really good pit stop from Andrew Little to keep his track position there. But it will be GT Irizarry that cycles away with the race lead, assuming no major calls from the guys in front of him. And they will not. They are still sitting on pit road. They will all be passed. And it's GT Irizarry that goes back to the lead with 61 laps to go at the Nashville Superspeedway. Next time by 60 to go. It means we're into the closing stages already. This one is flying by just a little bit. One more pit stop remaining from Nashville, likely sometime around, I would say, lap 110 for the early guys, 115 for the later ones. There, I had to get a drink. Fun stuff so far from Nashville. Not eventful in the way that last week was again, but so far so clean for the playoff drivers, which last week so many guys got in trouble, had to use fast repairs, had to have problems. Matt Hayden, as I say that, is 1 lap down, received a penalty on his pit stop, and is now in a rough spot if this one goes green, and will finish likely the worst of the playoff drivers should this race remain green for the last 58 laps. Irizarry leads, Little second, Watkins third, Everett fourth, Velocity fifth. Top 3 are 4+ seconds clear of the remainder of the field. If Irizarry can close this one, you know, Watkins winning is interesting. He's 27 points above the cut line. He's likely, by virtue of starting the race, he's likely already locked his spot in the Final Four anyway. So him winning would be more like, hey, let's confirm what we already know. For Irizarry, though, that cut line is so close together that if he can finish this one off, realistically, we've got 2 drivers locked in already, which means next week we're racing for 2 spots instead of 3. It would bump Matt Hayden below the cut line. Well, perhaps. It might keep him right on it with Malarkey missing the race, but with Velocity running 6 points ahead of Hayden, it actually would put Matt Hayden below the cut line. As of right now, assuming Irizarry can hang on to the win, it'd be a little bit, well, it wouldn't really be any different for Andrew Little, who also would have been in that points battle, battling for one of those 3 spots. That would lock up a spot as well, and he is catching GT Irizarry. This could be very interesting. We could lock 2 drivers into the Final 4 tonight simply by way of winning and taking it away from Harold Watkins, who had already basically, again, pointed his way in to the round of 8. Back to the line, 54 laps remain, 82 on the board here at Nashville. Irizarry leads by 7.5 tenths over Andrew Little, but that gap is shrinking slowly but surely. Now, how much of that is Andrew Little using his stuff more? How much of that is Irizarry saving? Remains to be seen. But regardless, that gap is getting smaller. Couple notes for you on drivers off the racetrack. Mike Martino called it a night back on lap 42. Stephen Luttrell called it a night back on lap 61. The only 2 drivers retired from tonight's race. Martino will finish 13th. Luttrell will finish 14th. 13th and 12th, excuse me. Irizarry trying to stabilize. He has done so with the gap the last 5 laps or so. 52 to go now down the front straightaway. Well, as I say that, Little gains a 10th in turn 1, and that's now down to 6 tenths. Andrew Little's win came all the way back at Martinsville in the regular season on a pit call. This one could be on virtue of a pit stop as well, but this time he's got to run down Irizarry. And he's also got to watch for Harold Watkins, who has closed to the back bumper of the 68 as well. Everett runs 4th. Velocity runs back in 5th. They have not really gained a ton of ground since the pit stop. No, actually, they've gained a little bit. Not a ton. They might be the ones to short pit here when we get down to this final pit stop in about 20 laps' time. They would be the ones to maybe pit at the beginning of the window, try to gain some time on tires. For reference, best lap of the race for the leader, GT Irizarry, is a 29.89. The last lap was a 30.04, and that's only about 14 laps after pitting. Gap is still 6 tenths. Watkins has taken aim on Little. Little trying to defend. At the line, 48 laps to go. And it's still all Irizarry. Now he stretches it out a little bit, 7 tenths. Over Andrew Little. Almost a second over Harold Watkins. Now Travis Everett is trying to pick his way back into the picture, and he's gained about a second since that pit stop. Can he get close enough, though, to even have a short pit? Justify... Can you justify a short pit being 5 seconds behind the leaders? I don't know if you're going to gain that much. With how the tires have decayed tonight, it hasn't been a, well, as I look at it next time, this time by 29.89 was the best lap for the leader, Irizarry. Last time by a 30.2, about a 3/10 fall off. Other guys are already seeing fall offs in the 4/10 range. So maybe there's something to it if you short pit and get back out in front of the leaders, and maybe you can hold on long enough with a bit of a shorter run at the end to get up there and win this race. Irizarry leads. Now it's a full second over Andrew Little. He's pulling away as we approach the final pit stop. Everett continues to chip into that gap. It's down to 5.1. Andrew Little over a second back as Irizarry tries to drive away. Curious to see when we see this last pit stop. When will guys decide to bring it down pit road? The next 15 laps or so, I'd imagine we'd see some. We may see a few earlier than that just have really nothing to lose except coming to pit road early. Everett maybe, Velocity maybe, Strader. Really, other than that, it's not going to benefit a whole lot for those guys 7th on back, but these top three, which guy short pits? Is Andrew Little short pit, try to jump in front of the 14 and the 3 to where he can have control of the race, and maybe he can get the job done and lock himself into the playoffs. For the 14 and the 68, this is a big deal. The win is going to mean a lot because, again, that cut line next week at Michigan is going to be very, very close. So if either of these guys, the 14 or the 68, are able to go to victory lane tonight, I mean, you can kick your feet up next week, kind of watch the other guys fight. This would be a huge deal. Whichever guy is able to get to victory lane. Irizarry in control right now, approaching 40 laps to go, approaching the triple-digit mark as well. '94 of 135, 42 laps to go. And apologies if it's been kind of off for me tonight, but just not a lot. Oh, there's something. Irizarry in the outside wall. Doesn't seem to lose any traction, though. But, yeah, apologies if I've seemed a little off tonight. It's just not a ton of going on the racetrack. Everybody's completely spread out. 2 cars out, 1 car a lap down, 4 cars 14 seconds behind the leader. Most cars 5 or more seconds behind the leader. The best thing so far has been the battle for second, but Watkins is not pushing it to the point that he's going to pass the 68. The 68's running a defensive line in the middle, so there's not a ton going on right now. .40 laps to go from the Nashville Superspeedway. Now we approach the fuel window being open. So if you're a Travis Everett or a John Velocity or a Christian Strader, your only chance to win this race is going to be probably the short pit. Try to get out ahead of a couple of these cars, maybe 3 of these cars. Maybe hope they get a penalty. They befall some bad luck and jump across them that way. Otherwise, GT Irizarry, Andrew Little, and Harold Watkins will likely settle this. Watkins on the back bumper of Andrew Little. That's for second. But Watkins unable to get the spot. Pit stops coming up. 12 laps away likely from pit stops for most of the field. You're watching the battle for second. Andrew Little and Harold Watkins. And Andrew Little able to pull away, and Irizarry keeps the lead. 1.2 seconds is the lead. Triple digits here in 2 laps' time, and then we'll be into the final quarter of this race. We actually already are. Into the final quarter of this one from Nashville. We now just await the pit stop cycle. A lot coming up in the world of racing outside of what we do here. Of course, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series continues its trek, as do all of our series here at PGR. Challenger Cup Series, PGR eSports Intimidator Super Speedway Series. The VRX Light Series concludes next week. Rupnick Racing Money Madness Series continues also. But a lot outside of the virtual racing world that's going on coming up this week and coming up in the next few weeks. NASCAR goes to Michigan this week in the Irish Hills. I'm going to be making the trip up there. It'll be a lot of fun to get to the Irish Hills for a fun race weekend. The trucks are back for the first time in, I want to say, 5 years at Michigan. So NASCAR got a full weekend coming up. Of course, all other racing series are in their full swing now at this point in the year as well. Big time coming up if you're a dirt racing fan. The Dirt Late Model Dream and Eldora Speedway is coming up as well. Got to look at the entry list last night. It is loaded this year. It is stacked top to bottom. It is a tough field of drivers from all over the country, all different series represented, different tracks, local drivers from throughout the country. It's always a special event when the dirt racing world gets together at Eldora for the Dirt Late Model Dream. GT Raziri by 1 second over Andrew Little. Then it's Harold Watkins that has fallen about 3/10 back of the 68. Travis Everett in the clutches of John Velasquez. Let's go back there. Velocity's picked up some late run speed, and Andrew Little, right as we go to this battle, has come to pit road. He has short pit the leader. It's only one lap. Now the focus will swap over to GT Irizarry. Will he short pit and match Andrew Little this time around? I imagine he would have to. Harold Watkins probably will. The three loves to match these strategies. See if either of them comes off the speedway. Oh boy, change everything. And this is going to be really interesting if the 68 got off pit road ahead of the 14. I don't think he did, so I don't think it'll matter. I think he'll be a lap down. We'll have to see where it places him in the scoring. But a caution flag is out here on lap number 104. Is it for Matt Hayden? Oh boy. Matt Hayden was racing Brandon Beauchamp, James Coytrone. Oh boy. Bad night gone worse for the Oakley Chevy. As Matt Hayden gets involved in a crash and does not even drive it away. He goes right to pit road. His night is over. A huge hit in the playoffs for Matt Hayden. Let's go back, take another look at what happened to the 5 car here. Off turn number 4. Let's actually go up top. What if the static camera? Nope. So let's go up top to the chopper. And let's kind of break this one down. Hayden looking for a pass on Brandon Beauchamp. Does Beauchamp get loose? Does he just kind of misjudge the wall? He's loose. And comes down, collects the 5. The 5 is going to get hooked to the right into the outside wall. Beauchamp noses in as well. And around they go at the front of the, not the front of the field, but for Hayden, he was just trying to stay clean, keep the car decently clean in case they got a caution, and he could repair that race car, or excuse me, kind of go back to being on the lead lap, and we have a chance to get a good finish in this race. And now the incident with Beauchamp has ended those chances for Matt Hayden. So under the caution flag, Harold Watkins leads. John Velasquez is second. GT Irizarry is third. Cody Eldred is fourth. And Travis Everett is fifth. And Andrew Little may have just gotten an all-time break. He had just completed his pit service when that caution flag came out and has been waved around and now has fresh tires and a chance to try to run down the leaders. In fact, it's actually the opposite. He actually got a bad break here. he's going to start at the tail end. And that's a really tough break for the driver of the 68. So, also a tough break for GT Irizarry, who cycles back to 4th on pit road. Christian Strader, Matt Aiden both called it an evening. So now at least 9 cars on the track, with Little being the last of them. Going to be interesting to see if he's able to get his way through the field, but with only 30 laps to go, I don't think it's physically possible unless he just has a great restart and gets basically to 5th by the time we're off turn 2. Well, on the front row, it's Watkins and Velocity, then it's Eldred and Irizarry, and then it's Everett, Bourbonnier, Coitron, Beauchamp, and Little, and that is the rest of your field. 29 laps to go at the Nashville Superspeedway. Can Andrew Little fight his way back for the win, or will it be somebody else for the field? Green flag back in the air. Bourbonnier does not go in the 0-0. It's Watkins off and running, but now he's got Velocity in his rearview mirror. Irizarry going to get to 3rd, likely by the time they get to the back straightaway, and Andrew Little's gained 2 spots already. Little is going for a 3rd spot. He might be on a warpath to get back there. It'll be very close. Irizarry looking for 2nd. He's probably the car that can run down Watkins the fastest. 28 laps to go. Watkins, Velocity, Irizarry, Eldred, and Little looking for 5th. He'll get it. And Velocity not letting Watkins drive away here. We're gonna have a battle for it, and it's just as big for Velocity as it is for Irizarry Little to get to victory lane tonight. Little stuck with Travis Everett for 5th. He's got to get out of that battle if he wants to get up here to the leaders. Velocity, Irizarry, Little trying to lock in on a tight cut line. So is Travis Everett. James Coitron is 7th. Likely doesn't have race-winning speed, but if something happens up front, he can capitalize. Velocity a car length behind the leader. 26 to go at the line. 110 on the board. Another doozy of a finish coming up here from Nashville. 2 car lengths between the leader and 2nd. Watkins is leading by now making a car length and a half into 1. It'll shrink down to a car length through the banking of turns 1 and 2. Watkins drives away for a moment. Velocity going to have a little better exit. Trying to just keep pace long enough for his long run speed to kick in. Irizarry is there as well. Little has gotten to 5th. Now sets his sights forward on the leaders. Watkins pulls about a half a tenth there off turn number 4. Make it 5 car lengths, 25 to go in Nashville. If you're Velocity or Irizarry, you got to find something. You got to find it now. Or Harold Watkins will drive away, and it will be too much of a gap to overcome. Irizarry's got to get past the 84. I think he's the 2nd best car, stuck right now behind Velocity, trying to find a way around him. Here he comes, going to launch a run here off the front straightaway for a 2nd, leans inside. Velocity says no. Not quite close enough to launch a drive to the inside, and we'll back up turn number 1. We'll try to get it here off turn number 2. But can't get there either. Coming off turn number 4, 23 laps to go, and now Watkins settles in and drives away just a little. Andrew Little is 5th, losing time. Now he's going to get to Cody Eldred for 4th, but I don't know if he's got the raw speed to catch up to these guys. Velocity keeping it close, but I mean, he's going to have that long run speed kick in sooner than later on Watkins if he wants a shot at this one. Well, pretty good entry to turn 3 and 4 there. Well, he may not be done quite yet. Driver on the final 4, a season to go, John Velocity. Trying to get back there for a 2nd season in a row and join. Likely will be Harold Watkins. I know it says Harold Watkins is pitting. Ignore that scoring bug. That is a tower error on the behalf of the overlay. So he is not on pit road. I mean, you're looking at him right now on your screen. So he's obviously not on pit road. Velocity loses a 10th, make it a 10th and a half, and brushes the wall off turn 4. 21 laps to go, and Watkins is cruising. Irizarry cannot find a way around him. And if he can't in the next 3 to 4 laps, I don't know if he's going to have time to catch him, although earlier in the race he made up half of a 1.5 second gap in about 6 laps. So maybe if he can just wait, bide his time, and get around the 84, he can find something late in the race and get back to the 3. But can't waste a ton of time messing around with that second place position. You got to go. Andrew Little up to 4th, so he'll at least try to salvage a good night. I think the biggest night compared to the guys in front of him right now is Matt Hayden's had some trouble. It's going to be James Coytrone. He is on the move. Well, he was on the move. He got a spot from Cody Eltrid. If he could have gotten to 4th and he gets the spot again, if he can get to 4th right here, next week's going to be real interesting in terms of that cut line, with Malarkey in a must-win and Coytrone gaining a point as of right now on Everett, several points on Matt Hayden, and hanging with the rest of the field. This is going to be a really interesting week of racing. Irizarry to the inside. That's for 2nd. Can he get there off turn 4? They'll drag race down the front stretch. Velocity runs him down. Irizarry just trying to hang on to that quarter panel and drive it deep into turn 1 and try to get him. He's got to get him right here. Trying to slide up. Velocity runs him down. Irizarry trying to get a better exit. Not going to happen. But they will drag race down the back straightaway. He cannot fade back in line. He's got to stay to his left side door. He throws it way into turn 3. Trying to get around him, unable again. They'll drag race once again down the front stretch, and this time Velocity thwarts him. That's exactly what Harold Watkins wanted to see. I clicked the wrong button there. It allowed him to pull away by just a little bit on the guys behind him. Coytrone is up to 4th, and Andrew Little's dropping spots like a rock here. James Coytrone in a serious position of profit with no Malarkey, the issues to Matt Hayden, and now Andrew Little seemingly is losing some speed. Late in the going tonight is going to be a big night for James Coytrone to try to gain back some of that points gap that he came into tonight with. He came in tonight 12 below the cut line. Tonight he could leave a little bit closer to that cut line. Especially if Harold Watkins holds on to win this thing, which right now, 6.5 tenths, the lead is shrinking. But getting there is one thing, passing Harold Watkins is another. When we saw it last week at Charlotte, we saw it at Homestead. Getting there is one thing, passing Harold Watkins is another this season. But John Velocity hopes to do just that. Coytrone is hoping that Watkins hangs on because that will provide him an extra spot and put him closer to the cut line than if Velocity or Irizarry is able to win and lock in 2 drivers tonight. The gap is less than half a second, but there's not a lot of laps to go get it. 13 to go in Nashville. Watkins by 6 car lengths over Velocity, who leads Irizarry by 3 tenths. That's about 3 car lengths. Back into turn 3, the gap is 3 tenths. It's 4 car lengths now between the 2 leaders, and all 3 could be under a blanket with 10 to go. And all James Coytrone can do, is, despite him gaining time on the leaders, will he be able to get there if these guys get to battling? Boy, what a story that would be if he could make his way into this battle, if these guys rough each other up. You got to think Harold Watkins and John Velocity, they were on the same page last week. I doubt they get too rough this week. Regardless, if these 3 get into it, unintentionally or intentionally. You got to imagine Coitron, I mean, he is picking up time. He's at least in striking distance here. Should we experience problems at the front? Coming back to 10 laps to go. It is a 3-car length separation between first, second, and then third. Down the back straightaway. So many point scenarios here. For Velocity and Irizarry, they just want to make it in and not worry about what will be a really slim margin for error a week from now in Michigan. For Harold Watkins, it's let's get me my job done so I can go to Michigan next week and not even worry. He was going to probably point his way in anyway, but erasing all doubt with a win here tonight. It'll be single digits when they get back. The gap was as small as it has been. 2.5 car lengths. Velocity chipping away. It's down to a car length and a half. Maybe a full car length here at the line. 9 to go. Velocity's there. Coitron is only 2.3 seconds back. Watkins to the bottom. Velocity follows him. Half a car length off turn 2. Irizarry trying to pounce if one of these two starts focusing on the other. Coitron is only 2 seconds away. Velocity to the top. Will Watkins block? No block yet. And there's a little bit of an air block off turn 4. They're all within a car length and a half. 8 laps to go. Watkins, was he saving it all? If he was, now's the time to go. Velocity peeks a nose inside for the lead. Here comes the 84. Drag race, can he grab his right rear? He will. Irizarry will try to pounce. It's identical to last week in Charlotte. To the inside goes Velocity. Almost contact. Crossover. Back to the bottom comes Harold Watkins. In the fence goes Velocity, and he hits the 3. Shades of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Contact between the leaders with 7 to go. It's not over. GT Irizarry now moves through to second. Watkins is third. Coitron is only 1.9 seconds away. Can he run these guys down? Irizarry a car length behind the 84. Now he'll try to go for the win. Last time by, Coitron was a 10th quicker than the leaders. It won't be enough laps. Almost contact between the 84 and the 14. Coitron is closing. 6 to go. Will it be enough time? 30.86 for the leader. 30.5 for James Coitron. At that pace, he will not get there. Or will he? Actually he might get there. But he's got to continue to gain that kind of pace. He's got to have a good turn 3 and 4 down here and continue that pace. And he's got to kind of hope these two up front rough it up for the lead a little bit. They don't have to do a ton, but they have to get a little bit racy. Not as much of a gain that time for Coitron, who runs 4th. Up front, Velocity by a car length over Irizarry trying to get a win. Both trying to avoid what should be a historic points battle next week with that cut line. And we'll have multiple drivers potentially in race-winning position and must-win positions. Malarkey, we'll have to see about Matt Hayden where he sits in the points after this week as well. Coming back to the start-finish line, a tap on the wall, and here comes Irizarry. Can he capitalize? To the outside, Velocity blocks the bottom. He'll give Irizarry the top. Irizarry trying to get alongside. He's going to try to drive underneath. Going to try to cross over. Down the back straightaway. On the bumper is Irizarry. A mistake by Velocity last time by. Will he make the same mistake again? Irizarry this time half a lane up the racetrack. Trying to get to the right rear of Velocity. He will get there. But will he be able to keep it? No, not quite. Had to back out of the gas. Has to try to drive underneath. Drag racing for the race lead. 3 laps to go. Coitron is not going to get there. It will not be enough time unless these guys really rough each other up, and he's actually being pressured now by Travis Everett from out back. Irizarry, I think, is the faster car. They'll come back and see popsicle sticks from Barney the Flagman. It'll be 2 laps to go. This time, Irizarry on the bumper, trying to move the 84. And after last week, not sure how good an idea that would be unless you can make sure he doesn't get back to you. Popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go in Nashville. They get back to the white flag. This race is official. Irizarry, same thing he did last time around. Goes to the top side. Will try to drive it off the corner and get right back on the back bumper of John Velocity. How aggressive do you get? Are you willing to move the 84 if you're GT Irizarry for a race win? Deep into turn 3, has to get on the brakes, loses a little bit of time. Can he drive it down the hill? He will. And back to the start-finish line. White flag is up. 1 lap to go in Nashville. The chess match begins here on the last lap. Velocity to the bottom. Irizarry half a lane up. Got to drive it hard off the corner. He's got to mash the throttle and get at least in range to give that back bumper a tap. Down the back straightaway for the final time at Nashville. Velocity blocks the bottom, trying to break draft. Here comes Irizarry. Does he try to move him? No, he's going to try to drive it in. He drives it in really deep. He's got to get a good drive off 4. He will not. John Velocity comes back from Charlotte and wins at Nashville Superspeedway. And for the second season in a row, John Velocity will race for a championship in the Challenger Cup Series. A win tonight in Nashville guarantees him a spot in Pocono for the Championship 4. A third place finish should very well be enough to get Harold Watkins in on points as well. Velocity gets the win. And as such, he will get to burn it down here on the front stretch. So he completes his celebration. We'll go through the finishing results, get into some post-race interviews here from Nashville Superspeedway. You hear from your top 3, so stay with us for that. John Velocity gets a win here in Nashville and advances into the Championship 4 in 2 weeks' time at Pocono. GT Irizarry goes second. A hard-fought battle, led a lot of laps. Comes up a little bit short, but certainly a good points night for him tonight. A second place in the stage, a second place in the race is going to put him in a great position come next week in Michigan. Third tonight, Harold Watkins likely pointed his way into the Championship 4 with tonight's effort in third. A great season continues for the driver of the 3. Travis Everett comes home fourth. Second in points, likely going to be in a pretty good spot next week as well. James Coytrone, a great run, keeps his season alive tonight in the 5th position. Andrew Little goes 6th tonight, led a couple laps, had the race-winning call, what I thought at least was the race-winning call late in the going. Had a caution not fall his way, and unfortunately, kept him out of contention. He finishes 6th. Cody Eldred 7th tonight in his back-to-back starts here in the Challenger Cup Series. Greg Bourbonier in 8th. Brandon Beauchamp in 9th. Matt Hayden's got work to do next week. He finishes 10th tonight. Christian Strader from 11th. Stephen Luttrell goes 12th. And Mike Martino finishes 13th on the night. Shotgun on the field. As they were last week, no waiting for our top 3 drivers, so let's get right into it from Nashville Superspeedway. We'll start first with a points leader, and the man who finished 3rd tonight led late and got passed by a couple cars, but still a good run for him. A stage win, his 6th of the year, a 3rd place finish. Likely got himself in on points tonight into the round of 8. We'll make sure the audio is all set to go on our end so that you all can hear the drivers and what they've got to say about tonight's race. Let's get it started with the 3rd place driver tonight, the 3 of Harold Watkins. Harold, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you.
Well, you know, obviously, you take this one with a grain of salt. You led a bunch of laps, win the stage, 6th stage win of the season. That's the most in the field by far. You get past late. Obviously, you want to win and you know, technically lock yourself in. I'm pretty sure, looking at the point standings, that you did so tonight by just starting the race. But you always want to get momentum, always want to have a good finish. You know, anything you could have done differently there with GT and John? Is it just, you know, those guys were driving a little harder. You were kind of just, you know, I've got enough points. What was the mindset, and what could you have done differently to go to victory lane tonight?
I mean, I could have just not drove the right front off. That would have been the first thing. As the sun went down, it just got so much tighter, and I didn't make a good enough adjustment, and then you try to race someone clean, they hit the wall, and that's about it. So another day, another dollar, another week. Same thing in this league.
Well, now we head forward. Michigan next week, the round of 8. Again, a really good point standing for you. Obviously built up a ton of playoff points during the regular season, so a really comfortable spot we can almost say you're locked in. I'll have to see the official point standings, but I'm almost positive you'll be locked in headed to next week. So with that being said, Michigan next week, what's your game plan? What's the plan for you as you try to get yourself into the championship 4 here in 2 weeks in Pocono?
I mean, really, it's just about accumulating points. That's really all that matters. So, gonna try to go and get another stage win and get stage points. And I think if I do well enough in the stage, it probably will just lock me in. So that's kind of the goal. And like I said, I'm not too worried about it. I'm just getting my notebook out. That's all I'm doing.
Well, nonetheless, for you here tonight, a third-place finish. You continue an incredible season, and likely, again, we'll see what the point standings look like in a week's time, but likely we'll be racing for a championship. Before we let you go, a stage win, a third-place finish. It's a good run for you, so we'll give you a chance. Any thank you, shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, shout out to everyone that does something to help this league run, and thank you to you up in the booth. And then just shout out to everyone out there watching and that showed up to the race tonight. It was fun.
Well, definitely a fun one to watch, and we continue on here. A good run for you tonight. Congrats on the third-place finish. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will talk to you next week in Michigan.
Thank you.
Harold Watkins, the 3, is tonight's third-place finisher. We'll talk to the man who led a lot of laps and I thought had the race-winning car. It was ripped away from him late. It's GT Irizarry. He will now be in a precarious points scenario next week in Michigan across that tight cut line. We'll have to try to race his way in and count points. It's GT Irizarry, our second-place finisher tonight in Nashville. GT, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, boy.
Well, a good run for you tonight. Had a great long-run car. Obviously, had run down Harold Watkins a couple times, had gotten to the race lead, was in the lead late. That caution comes out with 35 to go. You get back to the front. You had a look at John Velocity there. What was the thought process in 3 and 4? Was there ever a thought of giving John Velocity the bumper? Was it more just, hey, if I can't get to him, if I can't get to his inside, I'll take it? Kind of take me through your game plan and the finish tonight here at Nashville Superspeedway.
It was a fun race. Yeah, I mean, to track Harold back down was definitely fun, but catching was one thing, passing was something different. It was very, very hard to pass. So I made the move early on pit road and kind of, I guess I caught him, kind of snookered him away there. And so I was telling my teammate, I was like, man, if I could just get in front of him, then we'll have the clean air. So that's why I pitted early, and it worked out. And I was like, oh, great. So I did not want to see that last yellow, or the only yellow. I did not want to see that at all. Getting to John, I wasn't going to dump him. I mean, I don't want to take a chance of doing that and then take us both out, and then we both get bad finishes. I kind of need the points to get up here into the points. So good stage points, good finish points, but small field, everybody else got points too. So we'll see.
Well, the margin for error is slim. It segues into next week. We head to Michigan. Without the win, obviously you'll be a part of what should be a really tight cut line. A couple guys with, bad runs tonight. A couple guys in must wins. The cut line will be really close. Next week, what's the preparation look like mentally to go into this and try to get yourself in the championship 4? What's the game plan for you? Are you selling out for the win next week? Are you going more for points? Kind of take us through where your head's going to be at, where your strategy is going to be at as we head to the Irish Hills in a week.
Well, first I'll tell you about last week at Charlotte. We had a good, we were doing good there, and I think we had a really good shot at winning that thing. And me, like a dummy, throwing that last one of those restarts, I downshifted by accident. It went up shifted and downshift when it did, it blew the motor, and that's what took me out. And didn't let me use my fast repair because I got towed. So that was that. Michigan's one of that's always a fun racy track. Really, it's just going to go out there and just have fun with it, man. I mean, if you try to overthink it, then you'll end up wrecking. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather just go out there and just, be the normal hard driver and just try to win it if we can. If not, then we'll take the best we can get.
We're definitely looking forward to it. Meanwhile, tonight, second place finish for you. Got a ton of stage points as well. Likely going to be in a very good points scenario across what should be a really slim cut line next week here at Michigan. So, look, before we let you go, a second place finish. Any thank you, shout outs you'd like to give?
I appreciate you guys for putting us on. You do a great job doing it. Appreciate you guys for having the league and everybody else for being clean on the track. I mean, again, that was a fun race, but most of the races here have been actually fun and long green, which is cool. So appreciate it.
Another fun one tonight. Another good finish for you as well. Second place for you tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll see you next week in Michigan.
Everybody, appreciate it.
GT Ariziri, second place finisher here tonight in Nashville. And it leads to the man in victory lane. You want to talk about a 180 in terms of a week-to-week span. Last week, you could argue that John Velocity had the car to win, had the strategy to win, made the moves to win, and he didn't win. And was involved in that late race incident with Harold Watkins and Justin Malarkey, and was not happy about it. That you have to mentally reset as a driver. Going into the next round of the playoffs, you have to go get it. And boy, I mean, what better way? Turn around, go win the race, and lock yourself into the championship four and kind of just say, look, last week happened, but hey, I'm ready to bounce back. John Velocity did just that tonight, and as such, he'll be racing for a championship in 2 weeks. Let's see what he's got to say about it. The driver of the 84, John Velocity, in Challenger Cup Series victory lane. John, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, look, a victory here tonight for you in Nashville locks you into the championship four in 2 weeks' time at Pocono. We'll start with the end of the race. A caution flag comes out. At times, the fastest car on the track, but just didn't really have the track position to get into the battle for the lead. That caution puts you on the front row. You're able to drive up, get around Harold Watkins, and avoid GT Ariziri's late race push to get to victory lane. Take me through the last 35 laps, the run to the finish that got you to victory lane here at Nashville.
Yeah, I was struggling kind of the whole race with turns 1 and 2. I just couldn't quite figure it out. Took me a while to get it dialed in. I seemed to have 3 and 4 down pretty good, so I got more and more comfortable there. And then towards the end of the race, I started to figure it out more, get faster. Then that caution came out, and I somehow went from, 6th to 5th to 2nd. I got to thank the pit stop boys on that one. And then, gave ourselves a shot. Still didn't know if I could keep up with Harold or GT. Just kind of went for it, gave everything I had, and towards the end of the run there, looked like Harold's tires started to go away a bit, and I was able to keep mine under me. I feel bad that when I got into the wall and knocked him up a bit and shot him back to 3rd, wish would have avoided that, but nonetheless, we'll take the win.
Well, obviously I have to ask, it was a storyline coming into tonight, how, both you and Harold would respond after the finish last week. The playoffs are still on. You still got to race for points. And I said it just now before, before we got you in here, what better response? Something happens like that. You move on the next week and say, look, the best way to respond, I'm going to go to victory lane. I'm going to win the race, and I'm going to lock myself in the championship four. What went into that? Obviously, we saw the frustration last week. In that late race incident, at Charlotte, in that 3-wide incident, we saw the frustration. How did you get turned back around mentally? How did you get in the spot to go and win the race tonight? Kind of take us through the mentality coming into tonight's race after the events of last week.
Yeah, like you said, there's no better motivation coming in today than having last week on my mind. I was definitely upset about that. Home track, wanted to run good, wanted that win pretty bad. Definitely not happy with how that played out. Like you said, showed my frustration afterwards. And I was glad that me and Harold were the two fighting for the win here tonight. I wish, he could have got second, and either way, we could have got that 1-2 to kind of shove it in Malarkey's face. But, I'll take it. It's being able to lock yourself into the Final Four now and kind of take the pressure off of next week is a very good feeling, and we're just going to have to let Charlotte be Charlotte and move on and move forward.
Well, let's shift gears now. Obviously, next week now, means still something for momentum's sake, but now, again, you can kind of relax a little bit in the midst of what should be a chaotic race next Tuesday night, and now we can focus on Pocono and another opportunity to championship. We can see it in your banner, the runner-up last season in 2024. What's it going to take to get one spot better, and what's your confidence level at for the championship four after you've locked in tonight?
Confidence is pretty high. It seems I've been getting faster and faster every week, which is nice. Confidence is building, and yeah, like you say, last year coming oh so close to that championship. I can see the title as he crossed the line. I was half a car length away, 2 car lengths away, something like that. That's been on my mind, and a motivating factor this season to do everything I can to be back there, and to put ourselves back in the Final Four is a good feeling, and I'm definitely hungry for that one.
We look forward to it as well at Pocono in 2 weeks' time. Meanwhile, though, victory lane for you tonight. A win at Nashville Superspeedway will lock you into that championship 4. So before we let you go, do want to give you an opportunity. Are there any thank yous or shout-outs you'd like to give?
I'd like to thank you. I love going back and being able to watch these broadcasts, especially on weeks when I have an entertaining night. So I'm glad that there's a way for me to show people, my family, the kind of racing we do. So I appreciate you and all the hard work you put into this league.
Well, appreciate you talking to me as well here for a second. It's victory lane for you tonight. Congrats on the win. Congrats on locking into the championship 4. We will see you next week in Michigan. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate.
All right, we'll see you. Thank you.
John Velocity, the 84 in victory lane for the Challenger Cup Series here tonight from Nashville Superspeedway. It's all but going to wrap up our coverage tonight from Nashville as John Velocity goes to victory lane and locks himself in the Challenger Cup Series Championship 4. It's likely that Harold Watkins got there tonight as well in a bit of a poetic turn. It seems like John Velocity and Harold Watkins, 2 of the drivers last week that had that issue late in the race with Justin Malarkey, are going to lock their way in. Meanwhile, Malarkey, by missing tonight's race, will likely be in a must-win going on to next week. Racing, it can be poetic sometimes. That's going to just about do it for us. Before we get to Roughneck Racing tomorrow, over on our main page, Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder. We're about to start with Michael Triscaro and Ron Morris. Tomorrow night, Mike will have you for Roughneck Racing's Wednesday Money Madness Championship Series. As that series continues on, it's been some good racing on Wednesday nights. Thursday night, Austin Green should be back up in the broadcast booth for the first time in a little bit as he broadcasts the PGR Intimidator Series, Super Speedway Series, if you will. But Thursday night, we're going to Michigan. Excited to be back on track, hopefully, for that one. Should be a lot of fun. Going to be some interesting payouts and race format there. So, tune into that one. Next Monday, the VRX Light Series returns for the championship race with Landon, Trevor Osronaut, and myself on the call for that one to be crowned a champion in the Light Series and see who's going to graduate to race with the big dogs. And then next Tuesday, we are back from Michigan, the Irish Hills of Michigan, for what should be a fun, exhilarating round of 8 closeout as we are 2 races from the end of the season, 1 race from knowing who will race for a championship in the hills of Pocono, Pennsylvania in 2 weeks' time. So far, Harold Watkins seems to be there. John Velocity locks his way in. 2 spots remain, 6 drivers to race for it a week from now in Michigan. 8:30 p.m. start time next Tuesday night. We look forward to having you back for the last race in the round of 8 as we figure out who will be the championship 4 in the Challenger Cup Series. Good race tonight from Nashville. Happy to have you with me. Thank you so much for joining along for tonight's action. I look forward to having you back in a week's time in Michigan. Until then, you've been watching the PGR eSports Network. My name is Dawson Wise. I've had you all night on the call, and I'll have you next week as well. Until then, we'll see you.